Think you're standing in the grocery store, casually grabbing ingredients for dinner, and you notice a tiny glass vial behind a plastic lockbox. Inside it, a few red threads, and the price tag says $35. For that? That's the shocking moment. The feeling that makes you check if you're accidentally holding a gram of gold instead of a spice called saffron. And that's when the suspicion jumps in. Is saffron really worth this? Or is this another case of luxury marketing gone wild? Today, we're investigating why saffron is the world's most expensive spice, and what's really hiding behind that price tag. Because the answer isn't simple. It's a web of biology, labor economics, geopolitics, corporate strategy, and human psychology. Let's start at the source. Saffron comes from a flower called Crocus sativus, and each flower produces only 3 delicate crimson stigmas, 3 threads. That's it. To produce a single pound of saffron, farmers must harvest roughly 75,000 flowers by their hand. No machines, no automation. Just human fingers working at dawn before the petals open too wide and lose potency. Imagine you rebending down 75,000 times and doing that within a harvesting window that lasts only 2 to 3 weeks per year. This is not scalable agriculture. Economists call this perfectly inelastic short-run supply. No matter how high prices go, farmers cannot instantly produce more. The plant reproduces through bulbs, which can take years to multiply. Nature sets the ceiling. Now let's go where most consumers never can, into the saffron fields of northeastern Iran, which produces around 85 to 90% of the world's supply. During harvest season, entire families work side by side. The air is cold, the work is urgent, and timing is very important. But here's the part you don't see on the spice jar label. Many of these farmers earn only a small amount of the final retail price. Once saffron leaves the farm, it enters a complex global chain: local traders, exporters, international brokers, repackaging facilities, luxury retailers, each adding their cut. This is value chain fragmentation, where profit accumulates furthest from the source of labor. Add geopolitical sanctions and currency instability, and you introduce artificial scarcity into an already limited market. Some saffron is exported to countries like Spain, rebranded and sold at premium European pricing. The origin story shifts, and with it, the perceived value. That's not illegal, but it's strategic positioning. And then we encounter something more troubling. It is adulteration. Because saffron is so expensive and sold in tiny quantities, it's one of the most commonly faked spices in the world. Dyed corn silk, safflower strands, even shredded paper fibers. Once saffron is ground into powder, authenticity becomes almost impossible for consumers to verify. This creates information asymmetry, a situation where sellers know far more about product quality than buyers. When you combine that with prestige pricing, where higher cost signals higher quality, you get a psychological trap. The very fact that it's expensive convinces us it must be authentic. Some brands exploit this through dark patterns, oversized packaging that makes tiny amounts look substantial. Vague labels like premium grade without standardized definitions, or strategic placement in locked cases to imply rarity. But economics alone doesn't explain saffron's power. Saffron is embedded in identity. In Iran, saffron rice isn't just food, it's celebration, hospitality, pride. Even in India, it carries spiritual symbolism and is woven into centuries of culinary tradition. In Spain, a paella without saffron feels incomplete, almost disrespectful to its roots. For thousands of years, saffron traveled along ancient trade routes, linking civilizations through commerce and culture. It was used as medicine during the Black Death, as dye for royal garments, even in the baths of Cleopatra. This spice has always been associated with wealth, healing, and status. And humans assign higher value to objects with narrative weight. Behavioral economists call this emotional utility, the intangible satisfaction we gain from meaning, not just function. So when you sprinkle saffron into a dish, you're not just adding flavor, you're participating in history. Now layer on climate change. Erratic rainfall and rising temperatures are threatening yields in traditional growing regions. Lower yields mean tighter supply. Traders anticipate shortages and stockpile inventory, driving speculative price increases. Even without a formal commodities exchange like oil or wheat, saffron behaves similarly under scarcity expectations. The anticipation of shortage inflates today's price. Meanwhile, consumers see only the final number on the shelf and feel frustration. But here's the paradox. While saffron's price per gram is shocking, its potency is extraordinary. A few pieces of saffron can flavor an entire pot of rice. Its chemical compounds, crocin for color, saffronol for aroma, are intensely concentrated. When used properly, a gram can stretch across dozens of servings. The cost per dish shrinks dramatically. The shock is in the packaging, not necessarily in the usage. So is saffron overpriced? The answer is complicated. Biologically, it is genuinely scarce. Economically, it exists in a rigid supply system vulnerable to shocks. Geopolitically, it is entangled in trade barriers. Commercially, it is vulnerable to manipulation and branding theatrics. Psychologically, it is amplified by prestige and history. Saffron sits at the intersection of nature's limits and humanity's talent for storytelling. And maybe that's why it fascinates us. Because when you hold that tiny jar, you're holding thousands of hand-picked flowers, centuries of trade wars, fragile rural livelihoods, speculative markets, and cultural rituals passed down through generations. That price tag isn't just about spice, it's about power, perception, and meaning. So next time you see saffron locked behind glass, you won't just see an expensive ingredient. You will see the invisible history and machinery behind its cost. Thanks for watching Curious TV today. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more science-backed curiosity videos. Also, don't forget to share this with friends. Stay curious and stay safe.